Hi, folks. Just a short one today. Wanted to provide a little update on the Clio that normally provides fairly faultless service, but I did get the dreaded phone call the other morning from my partner saying that she was stranded on the way to work. The car was down on power, it wasn't responding to the throttle pedal being pressed, and she needed rescuing. So I don't have any footage from the actual rescue itself because obviously first thing in the morning I was trying to get ready for work as well, trying to get my son to nursery. My partner had our other child in the car, sort of thing. So it was all a bit fraught, but got a couple of pictures there for you of the setup we've got. I've got an A-frame that I keep in the garage for such events. It's much better for your relationship to use an A-frame than to use a tow rope and have your partner behind you. And as we did in the Favorite, I think we ripped the. Since you remember, we ripped the tow hook off the front of it, where there was some confusion going through a junction. So yeah, A-framed it home and then cracked on with the diagnoses. So yeah, once I got it home, I decided to have a quick look at what was wrong, and I had a bit of a suspicion because we've had some problems before with bad leak off lines on the injectors, and here you can see me priming the fuel bulb, and yeah, we've got diesel leaking out there, which means the fuel hose that's on there has perished. So the fuel hoses that are on here at the moment, they are not the originals. Long story short, a very long time ago, this car belonged to my brother, and he had a problem with it where it cut out at a junction, and for the life of us, we could never get to the bottom of. Well, I mean, obviously, we did get to the bottom of what was wrong with it, but for a long time, we couldn't. And every garage was convinced that it was a problem with the fuel system. So we slowly worked through and tried to find what could possibly be wrong. And one of the things that got checked fairly early on was you'll see there I've got the original leak off pipes that I'm struggling to get into place there. Um, Thought maybe they were leaking air into the injectors because if you get air in the fuel system, it does cut out pretty quickly and then doesn't like to run. So I took those off, put some new hose on there, and yeah, it didn't solve the problem. It ended up being the crank sensor, to cut a long story short. But yeah, by the time got to replacing the crank sensor, I had managed to lose those original leak off pipes, and for a long time, uh, you know, every 6 months or so, doesn't seem to matter where I get the fuel hose from. Can be, less reliable places like eBay, Amazon. It can be the motor factors. It can be Halfords. It can be some of the more reputable places online where people go for consumables for building cars. Nowhere seems to be able to supply fuel hose that seems to last more than about 6 months, or specifically diesel leak off pipe. I have replaced some fuel hoses on cars more recently with some sort of decent German-made stuff, and that seems to have lasted. But they were the bigger bore things, not the leak-off pipes. For the smaller bore stuff, I just haven't been able to find anything that works. So yeah, after after a few years of on and off searching, eventually I found these leak-off pipes. They're in the boot of one of my Citroen BXs, and yeah, uh, it's obviously time to refit those to this car because yeah, I'm sick of fighting with the crap stuff that comes from the shops these days. So I've primed the fuel system here. Well, not so much primed, but just got some diesel moving, and not all of the air is out of the line. So I'm cranking the motor over here to get the last of the air out. It's probably a bit of a harsh way of doing it, but this this old girl likes it. She likes a little bit of abuse. She's been rough for a long time. And there we go, fires into life. Something that's probably not helping is that the engine was cooling down by this point, and it's back to the point where, I mean, you'll see in a little bit, I start the car up and try and move it. You'll see a lot of white smoke where there's unburnt fuel coming out, and yeah, she does chug away a little bit until she gets up to temperature. So Coming up soon, there will probably be a video on using a cheap Chinese glow plug removal tool to see if we can sort those. See just how tragic these knockoff tools are. But here's me fumbling, remembering that it's important to put the engine dress up back into the engine bay. I wouldn't want anyone seeing the guts of the engine. You've got to have a nice piece of plastic thrown over the top. Yeah, so like I say, fairly short one, this one. More just the chance to vent my frustration that I don't seem to be able to get hold of any decent small bore fuel hose more than anything. Probably not the most exciting thing to watch, so appreciate if you followed through. Enjoy a little bit of smoke and clattering from this thing, and you'll be pleased to know that there's a much longer video coming up with me muddling away on the Alfa Romeo. So see you soon.